start over? No, I just realized again, I haven't done a Google Meet in so long that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna start over really quickly. So all I talked about was I said that the this is my I3 webinar, designing the student experience. So designing your lessons, your activities with the student in mind, trying to think about it from their perspective. So that's what we're gonna go over. I wanted to give Fryed Tech their credit. So I went to Icon, the GISD Icon this summer, and I went to a session by Brooke Lowry with Fryed Tech called Rock the Classroom with Google Tools. So a lot of the materials and the ideas came from that session, came from Fryed. So I wanted to give and I don't know if is it Fryed or Fried. Maybe it's Fried. I don't know. Anyways, I want to give them their credit and make sure that they get the credit for this. So you'll see some materials that come from them. So table of contents, I'm going to talk about myself a little bit. Design in action. So designing assignments, agendas in Google Slides and Docs. Using icons and fonts with color for strategic design. And then designing your Canvas course with calendars, emojis, and icons. So a little bit about me. I teach at Sam Houston Middle School. This is my 11th year teaching English, 8th grade English, and my 11th year teaching in general. And they have all been at Sam Houston Middle School. And oh gosh, okay. And you guys, you probably already know this, but if you don't, my Twitter at Saaybe Teaches, I get a lot of my ideas from Twitter. So it's a really great way to find resources. A lot of people post free things. Free resources. So go ahead. I would check out Twitter. Give me a follow. Okay, now design in action. Let's look at this. Designing activities and lessons with the student in mind. No, it's not you, McQuillan. It was me. I don't know. I'm a little nervous. So, oh well. So students, what do students need? When they're doing your assignments, doing your activities, they need to understand what to do. So what and the where am I clicking? Where am I accessing the materials? Making sure that they have access to everything and knowing where and how to answer questions. So when you have questions in slides, do they know where to type the answer? And then also students want to know, where am I at in the learning process? So if you make a list of all these things they need to do, we need to have a process where they are able to see, okay, I'm on step 3 and I can see I'm almost done with the learning process. So I'm getting closer to my end goal. So a lot of times it's not really the content. It could be just the way students are engaging or the way the material has been set up. So here's an example of an agenda. So students like agendas, even though you may think they don't. Students love structure, and so having an agenda is a great idea for each class period or each lesson each day. So this is a perfectly fine agenda. They can actually see, what are we doing today? What kind of learning are we doing? Where can the activities be found? Possibly a problem for some students is having to toggle between all these tabs and all these materials. So this is an example using Google Classroom, but they have the do now, then they have the home page, then they have to go to this classwork 4.10, page 3, and then they have to go to their slide and look at the last slide to get the link for the mastery check. So it's kind of a lot of moving parts. So we're going to look at how can we simplify that and make it a better experience for students. And feel free to put y'all's comments. I'll be checking the chat here and there. Oh, you turn that sound off. Okay, here's an example of a lesson. So this is an example of a lesson that was in slides. So this would be like a social studies lesson over ancient China. And there's nothing really wrong with this. So if we look, this might be what some of our slides look like. So it looks pretty good at first glance. You're like, okay, I have vocab. I have some words bolded here for them to pay attention. There's a text to speech. I have my questions in a different color. But do all the students know, oh, here is where I'm supposed to start typing my question? Do they know after the blue question, that's where they type their answer? Some of them may get it. Some of them, they may not. And then, they're kind of sitting there and you're wondering, why are they not doing the work? Maybe it's just as simple thing as they didn't really quite understand where they're supposed to answer. Do they answer in the slide? Is it in this slide? Is it on another slide? So here it continues. You see a map, and then we have the question in blue. Again, do students know I'm supposed to type my answer after the blue, where the blue highlight is? Here's this lesson continued. We have practice annotating below. Green if you agree, yellow if you somewhat agree, red if you disagree. So we're probably assuming students know they're supposed to highlight, but maybe they don't. Maybe they don't realize that you're showing them how to highlight by putting this in the slide. We need to be a little bit more explicit sometimes. Here's another example. Quizlet for newbies. So maybe you have this in your slide. This is kind of overwhelming. It's a lot of text on the screen. So we're going to look at ways how we can clean this up a little bit. So slide redesign, that's what we're going to look at now. If you add clear, consistent color, so using color purposefully, consistently, using icons to help students know where to go, it can really help clean up your activities, your slides, and make them more student friendly. So if you click on this, this is clickable. If you click on this, it will open up this template, and you're able to use the template. So when you use the template, it will add a copy to your drive. I already have a copy, but you guys feel free to make a copy. And it gives you templates you can use in your lesson. So we can see now we have the title, the objective, vocab has its own space. It's not just kind of off to the side on a slide. We have an agenda, so they know step by step what they are supposed to do, where to find. They know this is going to be a Google form. It's going to be in Google Classroom. Edulastic, they have the icon for Edulastic. It says it's found on Edulastic. So adding in those specifics for students can help those ones who kind of get off track or lost in the process. Key knowledge gained, key skills gained. And now you have your do now. So you have an image of the Google form of what it's supposed to look like so they can check, hey, did I open the right thing? Did I open the right form? This is what it's supposed to look like. And then you have this check. You know you're on track if. So giving them those keys, those clues of, hey, I'm on the right track in the learning process. So it has click here to access your do now. A collaboration question. They had a pro tip, look for today's discussion in the stream. So this would be if you're using Google Classroom. You can, of course, adapt this to Canvas if you want. Well, of course, that's because that's what we use, Canvas. I like this. I have used this in some of my slides. Have you completed the do now? So it gives them a stop, pause. Before you move on, have you done what you're supposed to do? If you say no, not yet, then go back. So it's kind of giving them a check to see, have I done what I'm supposed to before I move on? And if they say yes, then hey, let's move on and go to the next piece. There's a video. You can put a video in here, and then it tells them, once you're done, keep clicking. So just making things really explicit. Here is that information. Here's those ancient China slides. You can see how they've been redesigned. The slide is not so busy now. It's just the text on this slide. So yes, it may mean you're going to have way more slides in an assignment, but if it makes it easier for students to manage and makes it clear, then I think it's worth adding the extra slides. Here are those questions that were on that previous. So if we look, those questions we see here that were on this slide, they have now been redone. It's very clear. Here's the question. And now we have another different color box with the sentence starter. This lets students know this is where I'm supposed to answer my question and how I'm supposed to answer it. This lets them know, hey, I want this in complete sentences. Whereas before they may have just put a one-word answer. So here are some more ways you can add, just make it more clean, simpler instructions, very explicit. So you guys can feel free to look through these and see how they kind of change that one lesson, which was not bad. I'm sure a lot of our slides look like that, to a more simple, student-friendly design for your activities and slides. Here's that Quizlet. So if we look, here was the Quizlet slide from the previous, and then now here is the redesign, much simpler. If I'm new, I've never done Quizlet before, I click here. If I've done Quizlet, I know how to get it, I click here. So you're able to differentiate for those students as well with just adding shapes and then making them clickable with links. Okay, so that you feel free, use the template, make a copy of this, and then you can use the slides and change them how you want to make it fit your content, make it fit for what you're teaching. Sorry, just coming and checking in to see if anybody put anything in the chat. Am I going too fast? If I am, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I show you guys everything before we have the bell ring. Okay. So another way, if you don't use slides, some people use docs. So they like Google Docs. This is kind of like a hyperdoc, but in a much cleaner, simpler format. So if you click on this, it'll ask you to make a copy, and it gives you that same kind of lesson design, but now it's in a Google Doc format instead of that slide format. So, you have some variety there. If you want to use docs or slides, then you're able to choose what you want to use. Again, so you guys are getting lots of resources. So this is a copy of the step-by-step instruction slide. If you click on it, it'll ask you to make a copy again. But I have been using these, so I didn't change anything. I just took the copy that they gave me and I used these steps, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second of how I've used them. But if you use the same color, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Consistent color, if warm-ups are always red or collaboration is always green, whatever you want to do, if you use consistent color, then it can help students know, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this at this time. So kind of going into color blocking. Again, if you're due now or your bell ringer is always one color, this also gives you a visual. If you're using Impero, the classroom Chromebook management, or if you're just you're walking around, if everyone is on the same thing, if you have it always the same color, you're able to see, oh, you're still on the due now, whereas everyone else has moved on to the partner practice. So just using color strategically just to help those students keep things consistent, keep a structure in your classroom. McQuillan, I am going to post it. I'm going to post it right now. I had posted before. I'm going to post it right now. It is there for you to have. Yes, you're welcome. And I probably will keep adding things to it as I do some more things, but this is just kind of to get people started. Okay. Here is one of my lessons that I did using some of these redesign tips. So you can click on that and look through that if you want to kind of see how I did it using English curriculum rather than that history curriculum. And so using icons, this is from Lauren Hale. She also works for Pride Technology. Her Twitter is eddesign Lauren. Use icons in the classroom to communicate common expectations and help students self-regulate. We all know we don't want to constantly be answering the same question and redirecting students over and over. Where do I find that? Where do I click? Am I on the right page? I think adding icons and using those redesign tips that we just went over can really help eliminate you constantly having to answer those questions and repeat yourself. Here are some of the icons. You can get a copy of this. So if you click this little download icon, it will take you to make a copy of the icons. And they look just like this. It gives you different work styles. It gives you a bunch of different noise level icons. And then, what kind of materials are we using our Chromebooks today or our notebooks, or, are we reading a book today? So you can have a copy of these icons as well. Here is an example of how I have used icons and those color-coded steps in my agenda. So you can see this was when we were taking our CBA 2. So I had step 1, here's what I need you to do. Go to the Eduphoria lockdown browser, sign out. It's in apps. And then step 2, this is the title of the Eduphoria, the test on Eduphoria. And then I have the Eduphoria icon. 3, check grades. How do I check grades? I have the skyward icon. So I just use my snipping tool for some of these to kind of snip the skyward icon and the Eduphoria icon. And then step 4, work on missing assignments. I'm telling them where to find that. It can be found in Canvas and in Amplify. Here's another example. This was CBA 1 test. And then here's one for Amplify test. So this is one of the, I use this system or this method when they're kind of doing independent work, where people are kind of finishing at different points and they are getting to something before someone else, rather than me stopping and being like, oh, hey, if you're finished, now go to this. I can just have it listed on my slide, my agenda, and they can kind of monitor, where am I at in the process? Oh, I'm at step 3. I'm checking my grades. And then you can see up here, I use the independent icon. They're on their Chromebook. And because we were testing, it's a silent. We're in silent mode. Some icons and fonts for you guys. This is from Fried Tech. I was like, I'm not going to recreate this because they did a beautiful job. This is in Slides, Docs, or Google Drawing. Here are what all the different icons, your tools at the top, mean. So it kind of shows you what all these little tools do, which I thought was cool. Just kind of break it down for you guys of how to use all these tools and what they are. Fonts.google.com. If you click on this, it'll take you. So these are fonts you can download. You notice you can see different styles next to each other. So this would be good if you're trying to match fonts. You're trying to put a couple fonts together. You can go to fonts.google.com and these will import into any of your slides, your docs. So once you find it in fonts.google.com, you can go to your slides, go to font, add more fonts, and you know which font you're trying to add into your Google tools. Fonts.google.com/icons. So Google has a bunch of icons to use. So they're free to use. You can go, you can download them, you can copy them. So if you click on this, this will take you to that website where you can download icons. Another place to get icons is Flat Icon. I actually use this to do some of my icons for this presentation, like this little click design I got from Flat Icon, my Twitter design that I got on the previous slides at the beginning, I used from here. So you can go and you can just search. So you can go, like yesterday I searched Twitter. And up here you can choose. You're like, if you only want black and white, it has all these different icons. If you want color, well, here's all the icons that have color with them. Gradient. So these are ones where you can go and change. So if I wanted to use this one, you sign up. It's free to sign up. They have a premium option, but I've just used the free option. You can click edit icon, and now I can choose my new color. I can change my gradient if I want to. So it's pretty cool to kind of customize. The only thing they ask when you download is that you copy the link and you give them credit in your slides, which is really easy. You can just do at the very end, give them credit that you got your icon from them. Coolors, I didn't know about this. Maybe you guys do, but Coolors is a website that will generate color palettes for you. So I'm going to go click on this, and which is kind of cool. If you're like trying to put colors together and you're not sure how to do that, you can choose some colors and it'll kind of put complementary colors together for you. So if you're trying to design your slides, it generates some colors for you, which is pretty cool. Because I'm not naturally good at that. I can go and copy what someone else did, but to naturally come up with my own colors is a little difficult. So it goes to the tutorial of how to create your own color palette. Really quick, I'm going to show you guys my canvas. And this video is not up yet, but I promise I'm going to add it. I forgot to link it, but I will link it for you guys. So I use a calendar on my homepage. Ms. McCullen, I think you do as well. We started this, back when we were doing the hybrid learning and we started Canvas. We kind of asked some students, what do you like? What's going to be easy to use? And a lot of my students said having a calendar, not the Canvas built-in calendar, but an actual calendar that shows them every single day what we are doing. So a lot of these are clickable. And so I create this calendar using a table, and then the little month icon or month image I use Canva to create, and I can put a video on there as well on how to create those little headers in Canva. But this makes it easy for students to know, what did we do on that day. They can go check the calendar and they know, oh, I was absent Thursday, November 3rd. I know that we did Springboard 1.13 definition strategies, and they can go click and it takes them directly to the assignment. So this has made it much easier for students to navigate my calendar or my homepage on Canvas. And so I'll link that video for you guys on how I created this. And then, okay. So course navigation is another way you can kind of simplify your Canvas course. So when you go to Canvas, if I am a student and I see all of these options over here, I'm going to start clicking things and maybe go somewhere I'm not supposed to be, and I can get distracted or I click on the wrong thing. So I like to use a very, very simple course navigation. This is from my courses. These are the only things that I allow them to see right now. So as you introduce new things, you can add more, but I like to control what they see. I don't even have assignments on here because I like them to go to modules instead, because I have mine listed by modules, and I can show you guys what that looks like. I do my modules very simple. I have an early finishers module, and then I just have it by cycle. I don't try to break it up into weeks, just because for me, when I was doing the weeks, it was overwhelming to remember what week am I on, and did I click on the right one. So I simply do cycle 1, and there's everything we did in cycle 1, and then I have, let me lapse this, and then I have cycle 2. Here's everything we've done in cycle 2. This also makes it helpful for cycle recovery. So they can go find all of their cycle recovery work. They know, oh, I just go back to cycle 1. Here's where I can find all the work that I need to do to make up my grade. And I put a video for you guys. I did get this video on how to change your course navigation. And the last thing I want to talk to you and show you guys is using emojis in your assignment titles. So you probably noticed when I was sharing my Canvas, I have emojis next to almost all of my assignments. And so I decided for anything that's reading, that it's reading heavy, it's going to be a reading assignment, I use the red book. And so it's a visual cue, because our students, they're used to emojis, they're used to reading icons. So we can use that to our advantage. So they know this is going to be a reading assignment. I did philosophical chairs. I have the person speaking. So they know this is going to be a speaking heavy assignment. Writing, I use the little memo emoji for all my writing assignments if it's a writing heavy assignment. And so I've been using these icons. I use them in my WIN class when we do that Tell Pass Tuesday. So they know this icon is always the speaking. So then when they look at it, they know we're going to be speaking, focus on speaking for Tell Pass Tuesday, or writing, or whichever one of the domains we're going to be focusing on. And where do I get my emojis? I get my emojis from Emojipedia. There's a lot of websites, but I like this one. This is the one I've been using. They have a ton of emojis. They're easy. You can just click on them, copy, paste. And so I've been using Emojipedia for my icons, or sorry, my emojis in my assignment titles. And that is all I have for you guys. Of course, you can always email me, or my extension is 50524, or you can go to my Twitter at Saaybe Teaches. And do you guys have any questions that I could answer before we sign off? I appreciate you guys being in here. No, yes, no. I'm going to put the presentation in there again. just to make sure that you guys have access to it. And that is all that I have. If you are free to leave if you are done, or if you don't have any questions. Thank you guys for being here today. I appreciate you. I know it was very early this morning. Ms. Lopez, do you have any questions for me? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting and sign off. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.